Hi, welcome to another Raw Milk interview. With me today, I've got Kristen. She'll be performing with us on March 5th with Tommy. I was not familiar with you until Cam introduced me to you, and you're very talented. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from?
Awesome. Well, I am super excited about this live stream and I am grateful to be joining you guys. So I'm originally from Dayton, Ohio. I grew up there and then I moved down to Nashville for a little while and then I came back up to Indy back in 2015. And so I've been here, and actually my day job is teaching music and then making music, of course. So it's just been, I love it. I missed when I was down in Nashville, this community so much. And I'm just like, all my friends are here. It's great.
Yeah, that's right. You work, you do School of Rock, is that right?
I did. Yes. I was there for from like 2015 to 2018.
Okay. What do you do now then, teaching music? Is it in a school? Or?
I just teach on my own.
What do you
Yeah. Just
like lesson? Like what kind of lessons?
yeah. So voice lessons, songwriting, ukulele, piano, keys, voice and guitar are my main things that I focus on. But I do have a couple students who are songwriters and they're incredible. And that's really fun to work through. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I did a lot of I I was I did a lot of sound for the School of Rock stuff, probably around the same time you were there. Brian Baker is the guy who would bring me in to run sound. I don't remember the name of that Irish place, but that's where I did most of it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think so. Is it Allie's Ale House in the bowling alley?
I did Alley's once. That was fun. But before that, there was another one, and I don't remember what it was called. But anyway, it's always a lot of fun with the School of Rock.
Yeah.
Milkman Recording Studios here. We follow them on Instagram, and sometimes it'll pop up that they're going live, and it's so awesome. It's so awesome. They're usually the young ones, but yeah, I know a lot of people too that like Cyrus Youngman and oh man, now I feel horrible. We just had somebody in here and we were talking about it. Anyway, but like I think it's a really cool thing that goes on there. And you did that for how long?
I did that for 3 years. That's like my family. I love them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm glad you're able to teach music now still too. That's pretty good.
Yeah. It was really different, just like leaving and going off on my own. The idea was to pursue, basically this like more of my own music and more of my side hustles. And I kind of questioned at the beginning if I was even going to have any students still, but I still teach. I have 30 kids that I have every week. So it's, yes, it's crazy.
I don't think they could have a better teacher for what you do either. What in Nashville what did you do down there?
I worked as a booking agent and a tour manager. It was kind of crazy. It didn't last very long.
You worked as a booking agent and a tour manager? Why would you do that to yourself?
I know. I asked myself that same question all the time. It was a lot of work. It was not a lot of recognition for, the countless amount of hours and all that. So like little payoff, lots of work. And I made a lot of good connections, but they weren't, it wasn't necessarily the best experience for me personally. I've had a lot of friends who are still there, who are doing amazing things. And I love it. It's so cool. And I love visiting, but it was free. It was a lot.
Did you play while you were down there too?
No, not at all.
And why did you move? You didn't move down there to be a tour manager, right? Like you moved down because you're a songwriter and
not necessarily. I moved. So the reason why I moved is I had an opportunity to work with this booking agency that did blues bands that I really liked. And I moved down there to work there. So I kind of had like in the back of my mind that everyone has this like, shiny Nashville dream, like I'm gonna move there, I'm gonna write music, it's gonna be great. And part of me kind of wanted that, but it was really hard to do anything while I was there. I was mostly working.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, the cost of living's higher than here, correct?
Yes, although when I moved there, I mean, it's changed even since I've moved there. I moved in this tiny little townhome in Franklin, and I think my rent was maybe $400. It was ridiculous.
Oh, that's
It
pretty.
was ridiculous. I know.
That's really
I
good.
miss it. It's not like that anymore.
Too.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're back here. And I'm glad I think, and if we have met before, I apologize. You look extremely familiar.
Oh no.
But that's a good thing. I think that probably what it is that, I mean, Cam and I have been we built the studio a year and a half ago, and we were sharing music, and he's probably told me about you. Did you ever do the open mic at Union 50?
I have not done it. I've heard of that open mic though.
That was, yeah,
friends who have.
that one. It was pretty great. I mean,
That's
we had
cool.
Landon and Kara here, and Landon ran the open mic, but I wondered if
I know Landon.
maybe we ran across each other with the School of Rock stuff, but
I bet.
listening to, I did check out your stuff, of course. When Cam was like, we're going to book her, I said, that sounds great, because I trust his taste, and he's never been wrong. He wasn't wrong with you. Well, I shouldn't say never. I think the stuff that he likes, I've always liked, but then there's some stuff he doesn't like that I just do. And so I don't think an opinion is wrong. So let's just start with that. But so when did you start with music? Like, when did you start songwriting? What's been your path?
Yeah, I love that question, because I think that I did not have, like most people have that conventional start, like I've been doing music since I was little and writing since I was like 8, and that was definitely not me. I started when I was probably a freshman in high school, and I was a guitarist, and like that's all I did. I did not consider myself a songwriter, even though I did write songs. The guitar teacher that I had, who I still like to this day is like one of my biggest heroes, he's a jazz guitarist. And so he was very like, he would bring me to local venues in Dayton and Cincinnati. We would do jazz festivals and stuff. And at the time, I was just like, oh yeah, it's not a big deal. And thinking back on it, I was like, whoa, that's really cool. And just to be able to learn from someone not only like who was, I mean, still is extremely talented player, but also like very involved in the music scene, and seeing him interact and like, at gigs and stuff like that, it really taught me not only that I wanted to be involved in that community, but like just it was a huge inspiration for me. And so that's how I started playing. And I started playing jazz originally. And then when I got to college, I realized that there weren't a lot of people who played jazz, which I should say that, like, I feel like it is definitely something that there's a really cool scene for it, and I love it. And at the time I was like, I don't think I'm good enough to do this. So I'm just going to go do something that feels a little bit more approachable. And so I started writing, and I did my first album, which I think is still on iTunes, which is really sad to think about. Back in like 2011, 2012, it was under my maiden name, Kristen Bennett. And it's like this poppy little, I appreciate it for what it is, but I'm really happy about kind of the journey that I took from there after college, going down to Nashville and like really realizing that I wanted to make my own thing and kind of go back to my roots. So a lot of our new stuff goes back to this like really, really vibey jazz and kind of like Alabama Shakes, Al King type of feel, a little bit of both worlds, what I had been writing before in college and like a lot of what I did when I was in high school, and like things that I am really excited to play every night. And I love that. So yeah.
I'm pretty excited. Where did you go to school? Where did you go to college?
Anderson University. Yeah.
Did you go to school for music there then?
Yeah. So I did music business and vocal performance. Yeah.
Music business. That's an interesting.
Yeah.
I took
Yeah.
some music business classes, and I mean, anybody who's talked to me knows a story about, I was basically failing because I, like a lot of musicians, just didn't do my work. and I would show up, and I wasn't necessarily a good student, but I did end up passing because I procured an interview through my ex-wife's friend. It was her dad, and we were supposed to interview somebody in the music business, and so I interviewed this guy. And Jack Guilfoyle, I don't know if you know who Jack Guilfoyle is. Speaking of the jazz scene, Indianapolis's jazz scene is historically incredible.
Yes.
And I used to go see, he was a drummer. He passed away a few years ago. I used to go see Jack and Harry Miedema, who I believe is still around, and Claude Sifferland, who passed away a few years ago. He was a piano player. I've never seen, he was like the Gershwin caricatures, like long arms. That's what he looked like, and he had voicings like I'd never heard in my life. But anyway, the Jack Guilfoyle, I know he had a very storied career. I'm pretty sure he played percussion for Henry Mancini at some point and a few other things. Saying it on record here, excuse me, makes me a little nervous though. But anyway, he called me up to class after this. I turned in this paper, which was the final paper, and he asked if I would really interview this guy. I was like, yeah, I didn't think anything of it, like you with the jazz festivals, right? Like and going to those. You don't think anything of it. It's like, yeah, this is pretty cool. But he ended up passing me because he said, the real thing is not just knowing people in the music business. It's being able to connect with them. And he thought I did a good job. So when I think about the music business, I do still think it's pretty, what's the word? Like not ethereal, but like, it's not very tangible. It's a world, and it's a lot of, it's more like educated guessing, but even if you work really hard, it doesn't mean it's going to turn out the way you want it to, but it's still going to be good. I think, so you played mostly jazz guitar. Are you talking like on like a nylon strings, or are you talking like on steel?
Yeah. I mean, like, no, I played, my first guitar was a Les Paul. So nice. No. No, not like I was not like classically, I mean, traditionally trained for sure.
Handy, your jazz training? You think your jazz training comes in handy?
Yeah, I love, and I'm like super into theory. I love playing around with different voicings and stuff like that. And it's kept me on my toes. I've tried to dig into it a little bit more like I used to. I didn't realize how much I had been like influenced by that in my creativity until recently. And I've been trying to pull out like all of this old stuff. I mean, my teacher had written these books on like negative harmony and all this fun stuff that I'm like, this is really cool. I could really dig into this. But it's something that I definitely draw from, especially when I'm looking for ideas. Just because of the way that it works. Definitely the way that I play and the way that I write has drawn from that. I have to be careful because I swing everything when I play. Like I can get into something that it just feels very natural to me, and it's really comfortable. It feels really homey. So I like that.
I think it plays a big role for a lot of people. I think a lot of people, I mean, John Mayer is an incredible jazz guitarist.
Oh my gosh.
And I don't know if I'm sure a lot of people by now know that, but, and then there's, and Cam actually, and a friend of mine, Amy, who was a radio DJ at one point in Nashville, introduced me to, Lake Street Dive and Corey Wong and who does Corey play with?
Volpec.
Volpec. Yeah. And that was great. And you can 100% hear, like you can hear it. Even if they didn't start out that way, it's there and it needs to be, I think. I was just having a conversation about Miles Davis and his theories on what makes a note right or wrong, because soloing. And I was like, nah, the thing is that I think it was Miles anyway that said, what makes a note right or wrong is what you play after it. I think is one of his. And I think it's very true. So I'm looking forward to hearing, and you're solo here, right? We don't have you as a band.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to this. I hope you feel comfortable and go ahead and swing whatever you want to swing. It's
I do. Well, yeah, when I'm playing by myself, it definitely gets like that. I think when we're full band, it's more of that. Um, it's more rocking.
yeah.
It's a little more rocking than when I'm by myself. I kind of settle back and I settle in a little bit more. And I get to play a lot of stuff that I don't typically play with full bands, which it's fun. I mean, both sides of it are fun.
We're all excited then, because I think this is pretty good. All right. Well, before we go, it'll be up on the screen when you play. But while people are listening, if they want to check you out, where do they go? If they want to, tip to, because we're musicians, we appreciate those very much. Where do they go for those things?
So you can find me Instagram, on, I think Twitter's the same handle too. Facebook, anything is at Kristen the Band.
Kristen.
And there's no like hyphens or anything in between. It's just at KRISTNTHEBAND.
You even
I had to think about it. Yeah, so those are all of my social handles are the same, and our website is just kristen.band.
Okay.
All the music business stuff.
Yeah, at Kristen the Band for all stuff, and then Kristen _band, right?
That's the website, yeah.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm really, really excited, and yeah, it's going to be super fun.
Kristen and I had, and I don't believe either one of us was at fault, really. We just had a really tough time connecting for this interview. So I'm really stoked that we got it. And you're going to be here in 5 days. So, well, 4 days.
Yeah.
You'll be here Friday
Friday
night. And
yeah.
Sorry for the late interview, but I'm glad we could do this, and I really appreciate it. I like your plants. The one.
Thank you.
The one back there looks like it's, haunting you.
I had to do that. It's my string of bananas, and it was getting too long. And I'm a plant mom, obviously.
You keep them alive, which is better than I can do. So
that's all that was my accomplishment for the past year, it feels like.
Well, all right. Well, thank you. I think our time's up. Right on time, actually. That's fantastic. Yeah. I will see you Friday.